Well, just like a good pair of AA batteries, we are back. Ange is back. I'm Alexis Tunis. I'm back as well. And we just keep going, Ange, don't we? I think not many like the get back in the kitchen name last time. So we're still thinking of a name for this. I quite like the AA batteries, but, you know, we'll still take suggestions here and there, good suggestions. But Ange, how have you been, man? Is the move back to the motherland complete yet?
Not yet. Still in Berlin, in the final week of Berlin life, and it's been nice to be away from the UK. If I'm being quite honest, with the goings on with Manchester United, it's been good to have gone MIA for a few weeks. I must be honest. But you know, nobody can say that we don't tackle, you know, the difficult moments and the difficult topics, because you know we are here in one of the most stressful weeks, arguably, in quite a while of, you know, Man United history, but we're here talking about it all. You know, we're getting involved. So yeah, I'm all good. How have things been with you? How are you dealing with the current situation?
Oh my goodness. It's been a stressful few weeks, you know, and obviously as a journalist, you try not to take things to heart too much. After a while, things just are games. But for United, all I have to say is it's been a long time, I would say probably since City slapped us 6-1 years ago, that I genuinely felt eye water coming out of my eyes, like tears. I will say I cried in that match, and things have happened since. Obviously, we've matured. I'm a stronger person. I take the losses like a big girl that I am. But that loss to Watford, I was watching. I was on La Liga duty, getting ready to go to the Barcelona derby. I decided to not do hair and makeup professionally. I'll do it myself because I said, no, surely we have to win this game, especially after what happened against Liverpool, etc. I know there was the Atalanta results and the Spurs results here, but I look at those as Band-Aids, unnecessary Band-Aids. The real stuff, and I said, surely Watford could be a convincing win, right? And I found a pub, sat down, got ready to watch, and oh my goodness. All I have to say is I left at halftime. I left at halftime
Don't blame
to go back
you.
to my hotel. And I also left it when it was 2-0. And when I got back to my hotel room and started getting ready, I peeked the score again and I said, oh my Jonas Brothers. And that is the first time that just genuinely out of frustration, my eyes literally just welled up slightly. And because I was like, what's going to happen? What do we do?
What do we do? Where do we go? Yeah, exactly. What's the next step now?
I was thinking, I was like, is this rock bottom? But I feel like we've hit rock bottom so many times. My whole body should be in a cast or something. But I mean, we all know what happened after that. Ole, of course, left. I always said I have nothing but love and respect for my legend of the club, my baby-faced assassin. But at the end of the day, if you're a true Red, you know you're not really celebrating sacking of a club legend.
And I agree with you on that one, because some people that were posting like, yeah, he's gone, like, haha, this is great. It's like, you must be made of stone, because if you watch that farewell interview, like, this isn't fun. Like, yeah, he probably needed to go. Yeah, it's like, yeah, he needed to go, but I don't think that we need to be celebrating that hard. Do we need a parade? No, we don't. We just need to crack on.
No. I think if you're a true Red, one of the things during the Ole time, say what you will, maybe it didn't work. Now we know it didn't work, at least for now. But my main issue is I don't like when people lose the respect. When people go and they call him a waste man and this and that. Excuse me?
Yeah.
He's not a waste man. And he's
on the pitch and coach a team yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. He's 50 million times more qualified than you will ever be for said job. So leave a certain amount of respect. If whether you want to question his tactics and whatnot, that's fine, and question them. But don't, you know, when it gets personal with these personal disrespectful disses to Ole, I personally didn't like that. So I believe that a change was needed? Yes. Have we gotten a change, or we're waiting for a proper change? Yes. But at the end of the day, like I said, nothing but love and respect for my club legend. I will always think that. And you know what? Maybe it just wasn't his time. Now, who's to say his time won't come again?
Yeah,
some people are probably
completely
terrified now.
I was going to say, I ain't reading the comments. But I mean, now another name that's been, you know, hitting the headlines at the moment and is the topic of conversation for, you know, get off his back, i.e. leave the man alone, is Cristiano Ronaldo, because, there's been a lot of statements suggesting that Ronaldo was harmed Man United. He hinders this team. It was a bad move for Man United to sign him because it was just out of panic that he was going to go to City. We should have stuck with, because we were all preparing for Mason Greenwood to be more of our centre forward, Cavani as well. We should have stuck with that. And Ronaldo is not helping this Man United team. And for me, I'm just kind of like, where have these people been? What football have these people been watching? At the end of the day, the powers that be did not know what was going to happen. We didn't know that we were going to be going down this route. I mean, we were all thinking that we were going to be competing at the top of the Premier League. So why would you not add a player like Ronaldo that knows the club, knows the ethos, can score a banging goal or two, might I add, one of the world's greatest footballers? Why would we have not added that? A great name for, young players like Greenwood to be around. People were excited at the idea of him linking up with Cavani as well when fit. So, I kind of, it does baffle me in that, is he maybe a little bit more difficult? I don't even think the word's difficult to manage. Is he a different kind of player to manage? 100%, because, it's Ronaldo, and you have to have certain expectations when you're dealing with a player like that. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And, he has already this season, the only positives I am thinking of in this season have come from that man. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on it, because I thought, you know what, get off Ronaldo's back. He's there, putting the graft in. He's not complaining. He's cracking on. He's still managing to score a decent goal or two. What more do people want from him? He cannot single-handedly save this club, and it's been really annoying me. So I thought we had to talk about it.
I know it's not slapped or clapped yet. That's later on in the podcast, but this is a conversation that I absolutely slap away. If anybody's ever watched Family Guy, Peter has a segment where it's like, do you know what really grinds my gears? This conversation grinds my gears to the nth degree. Like, are you joking me? Cristiano Ronaldo is like a player like Lionel Messi or a Maradona that comes around once in a blue moon. And luckily we have two in a blue moon now. They could and probably should walk into any team in the world, because even if they're not scoring the goals or doing what you expect, just the reaction that they have with all the other teams. I mean, speaking to so many players from Man United as well, both like on and off the pitch, they have told you that since that day one, we all know that story of how everyone was so eager to see what Cristiano was having for lunch at Carrington. And then they were like, okay, maybe I won't have dessert today. Maybe I'll have this quinoa. That's the kind of reaction you expect. His presence in a dressing room is just, second to none. And the last time I heard anybody even talking like this about at Man United was Zlatan. And we know it didn't work out with Zlatan fully at Man United. And he came out and he said he's sorry that, his physical, I suppose, presence on the pitch was not as much as he could have given. But in the dressing room behind the scenes, the players talk about just how, again, they just wanted to be at his level, just breathing in that kind of atmosphere. They wanted to be better. And Ronaldo's the same exact thing. And the main thing I'm kind of surprised is how I know that when things go wrong, everybody's so quick to point a finger. And now Ole's been sacked. And funnily enough, there's so many, and I say of us because, everybody's had their doubts, I think, with Ole. So many people definitely, I would say, gave up on Ole before he even actually took charge of a match. There were so many questions, I think, since he started. So I'm not sure why there is all of a sudden this kind of slight surprise and need to blame somebody else for Ole's sacking. And of all people you choose to point fingers at, Cristiano Ronaldo, this is a man who, was teammates with him. They are friends. Of course, he demands a certain level, but you know what? This is Manchester United we're talking about. The Manchester United he left and the Manchester United he's come back to. There's a gulf in between, and why wouldn't we as fans demand that same type of respect? If I walked into that dressing room and you did, and half of anybody that supports United and wears this badge and spends our money, we demand such a level that Cristiano Ronaldo demands as well. So if you want to view that as disruptive, then I think you need to take a long look in the mirror, because I cannot see how, however he is, or whatever he demands is almost being too much or disruptive. Have we gotten so complacent in the last 7-8 years that it's like, okay, let's go little by little. Maybe he's demanding too much. I love to see that he gets stressed out when, we concede a goal. because he shouldn't be trekking back to defend. Let's be honest. Stop. I love to see that. I love to see that passion is still there for him. And you know what? I think that should have a good experience, a good effect. It should. I'm not saying that maybe it is, but it should have a good, I suppose, reaction or a good effect on the rest of the players or the younger players. But to blame Cristiano Ronaldo for anything that's going wrong at Manchester United now is completely out of this world. Like, please clap that conversation away, because I'm not having it. I'm riled up now. I'm like hot.
Yeah,
and there's
same.
AC on in this hotel, but I'm getting riled up. I will go to war for Cristiano. So don't.
Same. I'm glad that we agree on this one. Yeah, it's not going to happen. You might try it, but we ain't allowing it. And I'd be interested to see, what our viewers, listeners think as well. So make sure you guys get involved. Let us know your thoughts as well. If you think like us that maybe people need to just get off Ronaldo's back.
All right. Well, as usual, every time we have this podcast, we have to have a voice of reason. That's not just us. And this week, we've got the one, the only, my fellow ESPN co-worker or Disney Mouseketeer, Mark Ogden, who is our chief writer, especially for Manchester. I call you our Manchester King, Augie, and I know that gets people upset because everyone wants to be the king of Manchester, but good to be here. Good to have you on this. And I suppose the first question, Augie, I mean, I know you and I had to do a quick hit as soon as the news broke, and that was that Ole and Man United are no more. But now that it's settled a bit, what's your reaction to all of it and the timing and whether it actually was the right decision, considering, there's still no actual permanent replacement in sight until probably the end of the season?
I don't think it was a surprise that Ollie went. I think, he could have gone any time in the last 4 weeks, couldn't he? It was the Liverpool game for me was the day he should have gone. I think that from that point on, they limped on. So I think it was obvious that things needed to change. And you could argue that it lasted far too long anyway, because to lose to Liverpool, to lose to Man City, to snatch a very late draw at Atalanta, by the time he got to Watford, that Watford defeat had to be the end of it. So I think, Ollie had to go. I think he'd come to the end of his tenure there. I don't think he was making any improvements. So ultimately, the right decision was made. It was just that it was a little bit of a disjointed kind of statement saying that they'll get an interim coach followed by, a caretaker coach, then an interim coach, which they appear to have resolved with Ralf Rangnick. But, they're still looking for a permanent coach. I think if you're Man United, you should be a bit quicker off the mark than that.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that. Talking about Ollie, there's been a lot of, because I know some United fans were all over social media absolutely buzzing, like thinking it was the best thing since sliced bread. Other people were quite upset. I was I had kind of mixed emotions about it, because do you feel like there were maybe, not obviously at the moment, but prior to it all going south very quickly, there were some positives to take away from his time at Man United? Brought in some good names. Did they always work or not? Maybe not. But, and the transfers that he made, some were good, but then, maybe some players didn't leave when they perhaps should have done. What was your take on the whole of the Ollie reign? And do you think Man United fans can walk away thinking there was maybe one or two positives?
Look, I think so for the first 2 or 3 months, it was definitely positive. When he came in as the interim manager, I think it was the perfect move, and it helped the club. I was told that when Jose left, they called Ollie the anti-venom because it was that bad under Jose the final days. But I think the big mistake was kind of being hypnotized by the emotion and giving Ollie a permanent contract at the end of it, because I don't really see the progress that was made. And his loyalists will say, well, they improved in the league position every year and players got better, but I didn't really see it. And I think there was an early improvement in certain players, but I think that to give him a 3-year contract in the summer was just madness, because he hadn't won a trophy, hadn't looked like winning a trophy, and they were so far away from the likes of Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea when it really mattered. And again, we have this kind of split. Loyalists will say, well, they beat Man City, they beat Chelsea, and this, that, and the other, but they never actually won a big game that actually mattered under Ollie. A semi-final of a Carabao Cup against City, they lost. All the big games of the Champions League, PSG, Leipzig, all the big games against the big rivals. When it actually came to the crunch, they lost. And for me, he didn't have that ruthlessness to take him to the next level. And I think he didn't have the organisation either. In terms of his tactics, he was so far behind. And I think you look at his coaching staff as well. I mean, one thing that came out to me during the the last 4 weeks was that the players were so unhappy with the coaching at Old Trafford. And you look at all these coaches, they're basically guys that were relegated to Cardiff, that went to Mulder with him, that are in the first jobs, people like Michael Carrick, Kieran McKenna. There's no expertise there. And these players are big players. They want to be coached. They see their teammates from international clubs, international teams at City and Liverpool and Chelsea being coached by brilliant coaches. And they're looking around thinking, this guy can't even arrange a defence. So the players want to get better. I think Ralf Rangnick, when he comes in, will certainly make them better. It'll be a shock to the system to a few of them because they won't be used to being do so much kind of thinking on the pitch as they will be when Rangnick takes over.
Right then, let's hear a little bit from our sponsor, Manscaped. Christmas has come early this year, and that is because Manscaped are the gift that keeps on trimming. What is Manscaped, I hear you ask? You've heard him before, you heard him on a podcast, you heard him another time. What they are is the greatest men's grooming company in the world with over 4 million customers. And what we do is give you the chance to join those 4 million men using the code PADPOD20, where you get 20% off and free shipping. What you got to do, you've got to trim your nuts, trim your balls, trim your boys. It's as simple as that. Santa's beard doesn't look so good when it's coming out your trousers. Do you know what I mean? And that's why Manscaped is here. They do everything. They have the perfect package 4.0, which includes the lawnmower 4.0, yeah? And that's your mainstay. That is your trimmer. That is the thing that's taking you from A to B, where A is a big hairy bush and B is a luxurious, like AstroTurf. Just that little bit of stub for the one you love. It's as simple as that. They also have boxer shorts. They've got the sprays. They've got ball deodorant. They've got ball all sorts. Ball moisturizer. Get out of the shower, pop the moisturizer on your balls. It's as simple as that. They also have the Weed Whacker, which is your nose and ear hair trimmer with a 9,000 RPM motor, which means you aren't missing any of those hairs. Manscaped is brilliant as well because it has reduced nick technology, which means you're less likely to cut your skin when you're trimming your balls, because these things were built from the ground up for your balls. Again, what you have to do to get this special discount for our listeners is use the code PADPOD20 at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. So it's not just the discount, it's free shipping as well. Make sure you use the code PADPOD20 for 20% off and free shipping. The link is in the description. Check out manscaped.com. Back to the show.
And Augie, I mean, you and I have spoken to a number of players, of course, during Ole's tenure. One of the things that I suppose stood out to me is that they constantly just spoke about how Ole, of course, gets Man United. He gets the United way, which is something that, from the very start, since David Moyes came in, we've been arguing that nobody else from Moyes to Van Gaal, etc., especially Mourinho, was never going to get that United way. And here comes in, the perfect romantic story, baby-faced assassin, the man who did it, back helping us win the treble. He gets the United way. However, there was also the other side where everyone, as you just highlighted, a lot of people just constantly were questioning his tactics and if he really knew what to do when it was needed. So ultimately, do you think that that's the number one thing that let him down?
Yeah, and I think we've got to get away from the United way, because what is the United way? Ralf Rangnick hasn't got the United way, but the reaction on social media to Ralf Rangnick is one of massive excitement because he's got a great track record in coaching and he's the so-called father of Gegenpress. He hasn't got any Man United DNA. But he doesn't need it. I think clubs that talk about their whatever, managers getting it, the clubs that are living in the past. Liverpool fans don't talk about their DNA because they're winning things under Jurgen Klopp, and Chelsea fans don't bang on about their DNA under Jose Mourinho because they're winning things now. So I think Ole, for me, represented too much of the old way. It was too much of a link to the Sir Alex Ferguson days, and those days have gone. So I'm kind of encouraged by the reaction to the Ralf Rangnick appointment as an interim coach, because it shows that United fans realise that you have to cut your ties with the past at times. Ralf Rangnick's got a great reputation as being as a coach. He's not got a reputation of a winning CV. If you look at his track record, he hasn't delivered league titles or Champions Leagues, but he's a guy that has a so-called philosophy. And United have gone from a guy like Ole, who hasn't really got a coaching philosophy, to one that's got this kind of almost like evangelical coaching philosophy. He's got all these disciples around him that have gone on from, Ralf Rangnick and become these gegenpress, like I say, followers. So I've heard names like Ernesto Valverde would have been, get big experience at Barcelona. Julian Lopetegui was mentioned as well. I think the good thing about Ralf Rangnick is that he has this great reputation, but he's also a guy that you can see, and I know United are quite keen for him to do well and then remain on as a consultant or even kind of part of the director of football area of the club. So he has got that reputation as a team builder, as a squad builder, as a guy that gets tactics. So we have to wait and see whether he's the best one. I do wonder, whether Cristiano Ronaldo will fit in with a guy that wants him to defend from the front with all his, energy, because Ronaldo does other things and he scores lots of goals, but he's not a guy that is going to chase down defenders for 90 minutes. But hopefully Rangnick isn't so kind of wedded to his ways that he'll accept that certain players have to be, treated differently. If Ronaldo scores a goal every game, you have to find a way to accommodate him. It's the other players, the Sanchos, the Rashfords, the Martials that have to up the game. And if they're not scoring goals, press harder. Ronaldo's scoring the goals, so that's why it's slightly different. But I do think Rangnick is a good short-term choice. Beyond that, I think Pochettino is what they want in the summer, and I think that is the plan they're sticking to.
Overall, though, in terms of our, I suppose, managerial plans, I suppose when I speak to other United supporters as well, I mean, when it comes back to me and people even ask me, what do I want for United now? Or what do I think United needs now? I honestly want to say, I don't know. I feel like it genuinely is such a mess right now. I'm crying out for some sort of clear plan and direction, Augie. I feel like we have been crying out for that for a couple of years now, but more so now. And I almost don't even know where to start. You don't know, because you're going from a caretaker to an interim to then hopefully another more concrete, permanent philosophy, and then we'll wait to see if that one sticks, So for you, what do you think? What kind of direction do you think United does need right now, or what can be done in this short period of time? Because if we look at, say, other clubs that chop and change, but I suppose except for Chelsea recently, sometimes it does more harm than good.
Look, the first thing I'd say is get rid of the rear view mirrors, chuck them away, start looking to the future, and look to getting Ralf Rangnick in, getting Pochettino in, getting coaches that actually coach and will build a team. That's what they have to do. That's the success that Liverpool have had with Klopp is based on giving a coach time to impose his philosophy, as they say, and getting his players. You see, the best teams and the best coaches have a system and they have players to fit the system. So if you watch Man City, it doesn't matter if Kevin De Bruyne is not playing or Jack Grealish, the system still succeeds. Same at Liverpool. If Mo Salah's not fit, you bring in Diogo Jota and it works. At Man United, if you take out Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you haven't got a right back. If you take out Ronaldo, you haven't got a striker. So for me, United needs to get to a system where the system is the star and the stars work around the system. And I think with Rangnick and then hopefully Pochettino, that is what will happen. But, the problem with United is they've tried everything now. They've tried, with David Moyes, they tried the guy who was supposedly a team builder over the years, like Ferguson. Completely wrong choice, didn't work, whatever. They chose Louis van Gaal, who was a coaching, like I say, he was more evangelical than Ralf Rangnick. Louis van Gaal was so wedded to his coaching, his tactics, that the players got so bored with it that didn't work because the training and the tactics was so... I mean, I was told it was Johnny Evans actually said that Van Gaal would often stop training and say to the defenders, move 6 inches that way. He was so prescriptive that he was telling defenders where to stand. And you can't do that. So you have to have a bit of in between. Now, Mourinho came in and he was the godfather of winning trophies. Didn't really work because he's become yesterday's man by then. And they went for Ollie, who was like, everyone's like, favourite cuddly, reminiscent, nostalgia guy who, did well for a bit, but then didn't work. So Rangnick is a guy that will impose a philosophy, but he can't impose a long-term philosophy because he's only staying for 6 months. So what they need is a coach who will come in and say, right, this is how I want my team to play. If you don't fit the system, sorry, you're moving on. At Tottenham, he did that. He got rid of all the older players that didn't buy into it, got younger players, energetic players who would listen. And that's what United, they've got a very good young squad, United, with a couple of older players that will be moved on. You just need a coach and trust the coach, let him get on with it, let him have his system. But as long as he doesn't bore the players to death like Van Gaal did.
Yeah, I mean, here's hoping that he doesn't bore them to death. No, I agree. I mean, you touched on Pochettino a few times about being the long-term plan. And I know there's been a lot of rumours of, is he going to be able to walk sooner or not? And it seems like you say, they're going to hold out until the summer. Where do you lie in the argument of, because, some Man United fans think that Pochettino would be a brilliant appointment. Obviously, we saw with Spurs that, he's going to stick around for a long-term project. He did get that Spurs team to a Champions League final. And then you've got other people that, kind of say he's not actually won a trophy yet. Where do you kind of lie with the whole debate about him and if he would be the right fit or not?
You know, it is a fair accusation to say he's not won a trophy. He did win, like, I think the French Cup with PSG last year, but you know, let's be honest, PSG win the French Cup every year. So yeah, I think it's a valid accusation to make. And with that Tottenham team, one of the criticisms that was labelled against him was that he would always just dismiss the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup as not being important. He just focused on the Premier League and the Champions League. Now, you know, looking back, maybe he was right, because he got Spurs in the Champions League every year and he got into the Champions League final. And since he's left and he focused on everything, they've been nowhere near. So perhaps he was right, and perhaps at a club like United with more resources, with more demands, he will realise that you can go for all 4 trophies. And you know, so, but ultimately he's not won a trophy, and he's now 49. He's not a young emerging coach anymore. He's had 10, 12 years in the business. But one thing that people tell me about Pochettino is that he makes players better. The basic premise of any coach is to make them better, and he makes players better. So if you make your players better, you make your team better. And that, for me, I know it sounds like baby steps, but that is what Man United need right now. They need somebody to come in and make Harry Maguire better. They need definitely somebody to make Victor Lindelof better, if he can. And they need to make Fred better and Scott McTominay better. And these players have all got room for improvement, but they need a coach to do it. And at least with Pochettino, you've got a guy with a track record of doing that. I don't want to harp on about Ollie, but he didn't. Ollie didn't coach, and his coaches didn't particularly coach very well. So that's why you need to go with a coach who knows what he's doing, and we'll find a way to improve players. If they won't improve, you've got to move them on.
Is that the number one thing you think sets him apart, I suppose, from Ollie? Because I can't tell you the amount of people that, when even I myself have gotten excited even before this time now of the links of Pochettino to Man United, because I just do respect him for what he's done. But then there's always going to be someone that's going to bring up, well, if you put both of them side by side on paper, there's not that much to pick apart. I mean, they both still are kind of like trophyless, I suppose, in that sense. So is that the main thing that you think sets him apart from Ollie, that we could really say, yes, this is it, this is the one?
He's a coach, and he can coach players to make them better. You know, somebody told me in the early days of Ollie, when it was like, I think he'd won like 10 of his first 11 games, and you know, even I was getting excited about it. I was getting quite giddy, which is kind of, as you know, Alexis, this isn't really me. And I was, it was the smartest thing somebody said. It was like, he said, tactics win football matches, not momentum. And when the momentum goes, that's when you find out about the coach. And that turned out to be right with Ollie, because the momentum carried him, you know, through for the first 3 or 4 months. But beyond that, when he was challenged tactically, he just didn't have the answers. And, you know, that's not Ollie's fault. Ollie had his shortcomings. The fault is on the people at the club who couldn't see that he was limited in terms of his ability as a coach. He was left there far too long, and I felt really sorry for him towards the end when he was getting, you know, ridiculed by Liverpool fans and Man City fans. But he was out of his depth, and he hasn't got any coaching credentials. Now, Mauricio Pochettino has. He's got great coaching credentials. He turned Tottenham from a team of, you know, perennial failures into a team that almost won the Champions League. Now, people say, well, he didn't win the Champions League, but he took Spurs to higher heights than they've had for 20, 30 years. He just coaches players, he makes them better, and that is the crux of it. Now, Jurgen Klopp does the same. Don't forget, Jurgen Klopp took about 3 years at Liverpool to get them actually to where they are now. And, you know, from the point that it clicked, they've been fantastic. So maybe that's what it'll take with United. And Pochettino is a coach that will grow a team like that. And the fans might need to be patient again. And I'm, you know, sorry, United fans, and it's been 8, 9 years now, but it's difficult to succeed when you make bad decisions. I think if they get Pochettino after Rangnick, there'll be 2 good decisions, and the path could be clearer to success after that.
3 more years, though, potentially, of having to wait. I don't know if I can do it. I may need to go on like a world cruise with no Wi-Fi or something for at least a year of it.
Come on, we're getting old.
Well, the good news is
results now.
the good news is that Pep's contract expires in 2. Pep's contract expires in 2 years, and Klopp's expires in 2024. So you've only got to wait 3 years, and then, you know, the path's clear.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant! When you put it that way.
With that said, then I suppose just with the fact that you've even said, Augie, that we need to kind of stop looking backwards, look forward now, sort of forget of the Man United way and these romances that we have with it, because it's time to let go, I suppose, of the past. Admire it, love it, but let it go in terms of talking about this United right now. So with all these, I suppose, people coming in and out, and then hopefully, say, Pochettino taking over on a more permanent basis come next year, and then waiting the 2-3 years for some sort of rebuild again. What does, I suppose, the near future success look like for United now? Where should we start to cast our expectations? Because weirdly, I still feel like sometimes I wake up and I go into seasons and I almost feel like we should go after a treble again. You know, why not? Because if you're not going after it, then what should you do? But as you said, it's time to kind of forget those days, appreciate them, love them, but we really need to see what we really do have now at the club. So what's the success like? Where do we put our expectations?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. United should every time a season starts, United should strive to win something, and I don't think that'll change. I'm not saying for the next 2 years forget about winning something. But if you talk about a team that can win the Premier League, then it will take at least 2 years. United could win the Champions League this year, and it sounds ridiculous, but a team that's got a good coach and is well coached can win a Champions League. You don't have to be the best team in Europe to win the Champions League, but you have to be the best team in England to win the Premier League. There's no shortcuts to winning the Premier League. You have to be a good team with a good coach with good tactics. But in the cups, you can win a cup, and I think yes, so they can win trophies in the next 3 years. Don't get me wrong, but to win the league, I just don't see United win the league until they've got a proper squad, a proper team, and it will take 3 years because, like I say, you can't fluke a league. You can fluke a Champions League. So I think Liverpool may have fluked it in 2005. I don't want to, upset anyone by saying that. Chelsea may have fluked it in 2012. So there's no reason why United could fluke it this year. If they've got Cristiano Ronaldo in the team, they've got Mason Greenwood, they've got Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes. They've got such quality that if they get a good draw, anything can happen in the Champions League. But in the Premier League, they are 3 years away from winning it at least.
Oh, that's got me thinking about.
I know.
Oh my god!
I'm getting excited.
Where's the Champions League final this year? Maybe I should book tickets just in case.
Let's see how we go in the round of 16. Do you know?
Yeah, we'll
as much as we hate footballers saying this in interviews, I'm gonna channel a footballer and say, do you know what? I'm just taking it match by match. That's how I'm taking it.
Yeah.
I'm not letting my imaginations or hopes run, because where has that gotten us?
Yeah. No, I get it. Match by match, definitely. I mean, my final question for you would be about something that me and Alexis have been talking about, because there's been a lot of talk about Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo. And is he a help? Is he a hindrance? Should we have signed him? Should we not have signed him? And we thought we had to get your thoughts on this situation, because there's a lot of emotional people when it comes to this topic.
Me being one of them.
Ronaldo, you say, yeah?
Yeah.
Look, yeah, I'm one of those. I don't see a downside to signing Ronaldo. Yes, he's 36 years old, so he's not the future. But look at his record. If Cristiano Ronaldo hadn't been at United this year, they'd have been 10th or 12th, and they'd been out of the Champions League. They might not even have been in the Europa League. So I don't see how that could be a negative. The guy's come in, he's scored, he's delivered, he's scored the goals, he's raised the standards amongst his teammates, he's challenged some of his teammates to be better. Now, yes, people will say, well, too much goes to Ronaldo and this, that, and the other. But no, I don't buy that at all. I think Ronaldo, for the people that are saying that he's hindered the team, that's just making excuses for the players that are failing to deliver. There's no reason why having Ronaldo in the team makes you a weaker team. It's just a nonsense. I think the problem is too many players that haven't got the characteristics of Ronaldo have kind of allowed him to carry the weight and not pulled their own responsibility, and they've failed to deliver because they think that Ronaldo can take care of it. So for me, you should be shining the light on the players who aren't performing rather than Ronaldo, because take Ronaldo. If Ronaldo is missing for 2 weeks and he's injured or suspended, just see what happens then. Who will rise to the occasion then? You can't blame Ronaldo if the players don't step up. That's their job. He's stepping up every week. They need to do it now. If they step up as well, then United might be winning some games. So I'd sign him again 100 times out of 100.
I'm glad that was your opinion, because I feel very similar in that I dread to think what state we would have been in without him.
Well, look,
probably out of the Champions League.
There was no Ronaldo.
We'd be out of the Champions League without his goals.
Yeah,
for sure.
And the pressure would have been on people like Mason Greenwood to score, because Marcus Rashford's not been fit all season. Cavani's not been fit all season. So who would have scored the goals? It's all right saying that Ronaldo's come in and made it a one-man team, but there would have been nobody else to score or play. So thank God for Ronaldo if you're a Man United fan.
Perf, should we bring Augie into slapped or clapped? I'm not sure that he understands what that means, but since it's a managerial edition of slapped or clapped, I'm not sure Augie knows. So this will kind of be like teaching our uncle the new lingo.
Okay.
What was that? I missed all of that.
We're gonna bring you into a little segment that we like to do, and it's called slapped or clapped. So Augie, you know when
Okay, well, hurry up,
when you see a really good movie and you just go, that absolutely slapped, right? You know what that means?
Okay.
Means it was really good and you would recommend to a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, if something slapped, if something slapped, it's really good. If it's clapped, it's a write-off. Yeah.
So we want to know your thoughts, whether these, I suppose, potential managerial moves on a permanent basis slap in your book, or if you want to just clap them away.
So Brendan Rodgers as a permanent manager, would it slap or clap?
Slap.
Ooh. Okay.
Like
Tell us why.
No, I just think he plays exciting football. He makes players better, but obviously doesn't end the season very well. But I think it'd be better than what they had.
True. I would probably go. I'd probably go with slapped as well because, yeah, I get what you mean with that one. It's not. It could be worse. Another one that we've got. Erik ten Hag as permanent manager. Would it slap or clap?
Clap. Listen, Erik ten Hag has got a great reputation with Ajax, and I think he's doing well there. But guys, he's managing Holland for 2 or 3 years. That is not a preparation for managing Man United. Erik ten Hag is 51. He's not a young guy anymore. He needs to take the next step to, I don't know, a Bundesliga team to see. Managing Ajax is like managing, Man City at the minute. You've got all the resources, you've got the best players, you've got the biggest club. For me, I'd be kind of concerned that it'd be another Andre Villas-Boas or something like that. Someone's got a great reputation in a league that doesn't really compete. So, no, I'm clapping him.
What about you, Alexis? You clapping him or?
Do you know, I agree with Augie in this one. I think now there's almost like a little bit of a desperation to go for any name that's doing some sort of wonder with a team. And when you look at
Ajax won at the weekend. Hang on, who manages them? Right, yeah, bring him in, shove him on the list, yeah.
Exactly. And then now, you pull up articles. I think I was just reading some of the sports columns on the way up here to Manchester, and the headline was, why Ajax are true Champions League contenders. And I mean, it would be, as Augie was saying, sometimes you do ride this momentum, but that's his momentum right now with Ajax. And I think we should see it and respect it with Ajax. But we all know, we saw that almost, with David Moyes at Everton, ride that momentum. And sometimes it's just a different kettle of fish when you reach to Manchester United, and then they go, and then you look at Moisey now at West Ham. It's a different kettle of fish, and I think that we should be careful not to just jump on the hype there. Respect what they're doing in said league, said country, with said team. But we know. I mean, somebody even said this, but they said that it's almost like the Man United job has become a poison chalice, and you have to find someone that really, really is willing to take that on.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you guys. I think that it would clap. Wouldn't have if we would have appointed him. I would have been extremely nervous. Another name that was in the mix, Zinedine Zidane. Would it have slapped or clapped?
I think it would have clapped as well, because he could have certainly managed people like Cristiano Ronaldo, Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes. But would he have made Fred better? Would he have made Aaron Bissaka better? Could he coach the defence? I just think he's a guy that is very good at leaving big players to get on with it. I'm not quite sure he's the guy you want to make good players better. It's probably the fairest way I could say it.
Yeah, I can't imagine him somehow like putting his arm around Luke Shaw and, I just, do you know what I mean? I just can't see it really working. No disrespect to Luke Shaw, but yeah, I just can't see. I never saw Zidane at Old Trafford. I just never saw it, never thought it could work. So I would agree.
No.
I think it would have collapsed as well. One that we've been talking about that I think we all would say that this one would slap would be the one that I think we're all keeping our fingers crossed for. Pochettino to Man United as permanent. We're hoping that it would slap, right?
Yeah. I think that slaps, because I just think he gives United a bit of the best of everything. He's a good coach. He knows the Premier League. He plays good football. He's a guy that will build for the long term. And, most importantly, he wants to come. So the only slight downside is that PSG at the moment don't want to let him go. But I think, that's the main thing for me.
So we've just got to keep our fingers crossed that they crash out in the round of 16. He gets sacked, and then he can have a little bit of a holiday, and then he's good to go. The final name, which was a big name that was actually linked with the short-term managerial position, the long-term as well. There's been a few whispers. Steve Bruce, guys, would it have slapped or clapped? I'm going with respectfully. It would have clapped.
Yeah, I'm going to say
I think that's the best way to put
I love me some Steve Bruce, but respectfully, we'll clap this one.
As I would with Wayne Rooney as well.
Steve, but,
Yeah, when Wayne Rooney, spoke
No.
about how he wouldn't be taking over, I respectfully was okay with that as well.
I think United have had enough of former players. I think let's let that ship sail now. Let's kind of move towards people that have not got a connection to the club. So
yeah. Well done for completing your first slapped or clapped. Hope that you enjoyed that one, and we'll have to get thinking, Alexis, about what's going to slap or clap in the next one. We'll have to think of a good one for next time.
Absolutely.
You know what? That was a very good edition of Slapped or Clapped. I'm glad that we're still doing that because that was a fun one. And I'm sorry, Steve Bruce. I'm sorry, Wayne Rooney. It was a nice idea, but I think I am in agreement that we need to stop no more former Man United players as managers. But you know what? That was a really good chat. It was good to get a little bit off our chest about Ronaldo, chat about these new managers. I'm actually feeling a little bit more positive, especially, with this impending announcement that we're all waiting for. I didn't even think about the fact that, Man United are playing Chelsea. Let's not even get into that one. We're just going to focus on the positives in that change is going to happen. It's on the horizon, and let's just hope that it's something good, and we've got something to celebrate. This is our Christmas present. We need something good in the next few weeks. So fingers crossed for all United fans that we get something. But yeah, once again, very good to chat to you, Alexis, to chat to Mark, and another cracking podcast from the two of us. As always, where can people find you if they want to try and stalk you on social media?
Well, my Instagram is Alexis E. Nunes, and I'll be all over Spain soon. I'm going to be in Spain more than I'm going to be here in the UK for all of December. But of course,
my heart bleeds for you.
To be honest, there's a high of 5 in Madrid tonight. So there you go. It's not all bed and roses there now. It's kind of competing with Manchester. So we'll see. But yeah, you can definitely find me at Alexis E. Nunes, probably crying my heart out if we decide to get smashed by Watford again.
Yes, definitely. And I will be joining you in said tears. As always, Angelina Kelly. If you want to search it. If you don't, that's absolutely fine as well. But yeah, once again, we've not named our podcast. Let us know, like we said, about any names that you guys think would fit. But from the AA batteries, as we'll call ourselves for now, good to wrap up another podcast all about Man United. And I'm sure that we'll be back soon talking more about this club that we love.